Being a good fighter in Fortnite can be put down to mastering a few key fundamentals. The problem is, many can master one or two, but not all the ones that are necessary to fight like a pro. In this video, I'm going to take you through tips to help you with both the mental and physical side of fighting in Fortnite, so you walk away from this video being able to win more fights. If you find this video helpful, please do drop a like, subscribe, and let's get straight into it. So the first fundamental I want to talk about is aggression, and mastering aggression first is really important because it hugely reduces the time you spend fighting. Now, if you can reduce the time you spend fighting, that's less time for a third party to come in, for example, or for you to use all your mats and therefore end up scuffed within a game. Now, first off, when talking about mastering aggression, I want to talk about when starting a fight, you want to try and get as many entry tags as possible. But when looking at entry tags, there are three key mistakes that people tend to make. The first of these is that they miss the entry tag opportunities as people are focused on their builds and edits, so therefore miss the opportunity to tag the opponent. The second of these is that they use the wrong gun, so therefore they tag them for less damage. For example, opponents use a shotgun instead of an AR and end up only getting a tag for 10 when it could have been a couple 30 tags, for example. And the third is choosing a poor peek, and therefore as a result of this, like for example you stand in the open whereas the opponent is behind a right hand peak, you may end up losing the trade and giving yourself a disadvantage off the start. Now, most people when starting a fight will look to trade entry tags, so if you can win this trade off spawn, you can instantly look to play the aggressor within the fight and therefore end up pressuring your opponent. The thing is, most players in Fortnite tend to lose confidence and react in a defensive manner when they're tagged, and this is whether it's just for 10 damage or 90 damage, so therefore using your AR for medium range tags at the start of the fight is definitely the best play instead of getting a 10 damage tag from your shotgun. Now, before the rest of the video, here is a word from our sponsor Eldorado. It's the ultimate marketplace for safe and easy trading, all from trusted sellers with secure transactions. They support over 200 games including Fortnite, GTA, Call of Duty, Valorant, Roblox, and more. It's super easy to set up. All you have to do is go into the link in the description or the link pinned in the comment section down below, and it will take you to Eldorado's page where you can easily sign up in just a few seconds. Once that's done, all you have to do is go over to the search bar in the top left, select the game you are playing, your device, and then you can easily find one that fits your need dependent on the game you're playing. You can get an exclusive Eldorado discount today by using the link in the description or using code MANZANOSIS when purchasing anything. That's eldorado.gg, fast, safe, and easy, made for gamers like me and you. So if you haven't already, go into the link in the description or use the link pinned in the comment section down below to get an exclusive Eldorado discount today by using code MANZANOSIS. Now back to the video. So coming back to aggression, another thing I like to mention is that you need to react to the damage you are dealing. You see, worse fighters and people that struggle to improve their fighting don't actually adapt their playstyle depending on each different fight. You see, this is very, very wrong. If you damage a player for 30 damage, you need to play completely different to how you would if you tagged them for 100 and cracked their shield. I like to describe it as a scale, for example. The higher you tag them for, the higher the scale of aggression you need to put onto the opponent. If you start off the fight with a 20 tag, then maybe you don't play that aggressive. But if you start off the tag with 120 damage, you need to be ultra aggressive and really putting pressure onto your opponent. Many players also make the mistake of reloading at the wrong time. You see, if you've hit your opponent big, you therefore have the momentum in the fight, so don't waste time reloading if you still have bullets left in the magazine, for example. Use what's remaining to keep up the pressure so your opponent doesn't have the chance to heal, and this will allow you to close out a fight much faster. Your opponent should never get more than 2 to 3 seconds without you pressuring them when you are playing the aggressive role within a fight, because if they do, they can heal up and then create adequate space between you and them, slowing the fight down and potentially allowing them to become the aggressor. So now it's time to talk about playing defensive, as we've just covered aggression, as that is going to be fundamental number 2. Now, the first tip I have when playing defensive within a fight is to learn to change layers when you are being pressured. You see, when you change layers and go up or down by a few layers, it makes it really hard for your opponent to track you and continue to pressure you. If you can change layers and create space whilst doing so, or look to create spaces with them boxes but then head back to your original box so your opponent loses track of where you are within the fight, all of this helps slow the fight down and potentially give you enough time to heal up and give yourself that health edge within the fight. Your entire aim as a defensive player is to slow the fight down. You need to stall ready for a third party or buy yourself enough time to heal up where you can potentially win the fight. If a good player pushes you though, this is much easier said said than done. Realistically, you have to deal opposing damage back onto the opponent in order to get them to stop pressuring you. A couple things that work is pre-fires, like I've spoke a lot about in previous videos, and the same as that edit and resetting trick where you bait the opponent into shooting, therefore them shooting out the wall and giving you an opportunity to get a free tag on them. Both of these work, but it's really important that you do get counter damage back onto your opponent in order to stop them from pressuring you. Once you've successfully slowed the fight down, your opponent then may disengage, or you may get the opportunity to be the aggressor within the fight and therefore close the fight out. Another thing is to stop panicking when you're on low HP. I see so many people do this and they spin around and panic build or overbuild, which just ends up showing huge weakness to the enemy, who will just end up momentum and phasing into your box and ending the fight really quickly. It also shows that you're really scared of the opponent and gives your enemy confidence, as it's clear that you have lost confidence within yourself to win the fight. Instead, when you get tagged heavy, don't show any weakness and stay facing the enemy who could potentially be on your wall, and instead of healing up and running away, look for an opportunity to alpha the enemy up and try and get damage back onto them, which then they will disengage and heal up, giving you the opportunity to heal up yourself. We also need to stop screwing ourselves over trying to pop heals last minute, and I know that I'm really guilty of this, but so many of us put ourselves in a bad position within a fight because we end up waiting for that last 0.5 seconds for that big pot or that mini pot to finish popping. Yeah, we might have gained 25 HP from it if we do end up successful in getting it off, but now our opponent is likely in a much better position they could be on our wall, and we are in a significantly worse strategical position within the fight. It's often not worth looking to heal within a fight at any point unless there is 1 to 2 boxes of space between you and the enemy, or 2, you've got counter damage onto the opponent and you are able to then heal yourself because the opponent is healing. A last thing to mention as well is that you should prioritize reloading over healing in your fight, and this is because you can't win a fight if you can't shoot your gun because you have no ammo, but you can win a fight if you're on 1 HP. Just think about that for a bit. Now moving on to fundamental 3 is going to be being unpredictable. Now a key thing that you can do to be unpredictable is switch your tempo that you play at within a fight. This could be as simple as switching from a defensive playstyle to aggressive playstyle instantly, because this can really throw off your opponent within a fight. You see, if you can change the pace of the fight and maybe catch your opponent off guard, you can get a heavy tag onto them and therefore capitalize on this in order to win the fight. It's going to sound like strange advice, but also don't be afraid to be a gun out Gary, because the hardest players to fight, and you can ask pros this and I guarantee you they'll agree with me, are the ones that are really weird and awkward, who just stand there with their gun out. They don't really do anything or make any good plays. They're just really unpredictable. But you see, if you can master this playstyle yourself, you can sometimes do this and catch your opponent off guard with big tags, by example just holding your pump on their wall and waiting there for them to edit, for example. Fundamental 4 is learning the ability to judge how to play a fight. Now this comes to judging when to play a fight slow or fast, for example, or when you should play aggressive or defensive. And it may sound easy, but if you can master this skill, I guarantee you'd be a pro level fighter, because it's one of the hardest things to master within the game. You see, this is only developed through lots and lots of time spent practicing and experiencing fighting scenarios, and this can really only be trained in creative 1v1s, for example, like Finest Realistics, or it can be trained in ranked, like Ranked Reload or Ranked Battle Royale, but it comes through thousands of hours practicing and W-keying within fights. I guess also if you play lots of tournaments and you decide to W-key in tournaments, you can learn a lot of different fighting scenarios and learn a lot of practice from that. But the ability to judge how your opponent is playing a fight and then how you should play it as a result is really crucial when trying to improve your fighting. You can work on this by playing players better than you, because they will punish mistakes if you make them, whereas worse players you play with might not capitalize on the mistakes you make, and therefore you will never know that the play you did was poor until a better fighter inevitably punishes you in a cash cup later down the line. So therefore, by playing better players from the start, you know what you're doing wrong and you can smooth this out of your gameplay. This video is focused heavily on the mentality of fighting, but if it is fighting moves that you're struggling, click this video on screen because it shows you 15 fighting moves you need to learn to fight like a pro. Peace out from me, subscribe for more.